Hello, and welcome to possibly the weirdest pre-show we will ever do for one of these. I'm joined today by Keith.
Hi.
And also Tim.
Yo.
Tim made it after Freddie Benson from iCarly stood in for him yesterday. So this is a weird event. Not a Sunrise thing like we saw yesterday where they announced Tony Hawk, but Keely's presenting us with what he calls a showcase, I guess. We're looking at about an hour, counting in the interview he's planning for this. He's hyping it up. At the end of yesterday's stream, he's like, you cannot miss this. This is going to be one of the biggest things of the summer. It's confused me, it's confused a lot of people, but there now, I want to start off by talking about the rumours that are going around on social media. First of all, I will say that this is not Batman, this is not Elden Ring. I doubt that this is even a video game, if it's anything. But the rumours going around right now is that this is Unreal Engine 5 we're about to see. Which feels deflating, at least for me. Tim, how do you feel about that if it was Unreal Engine 5 we were seeing?
So we talked about this a tiny bit before we went live, but I kind of don't like Unreal taking over the industry because I'm worried about it unifying the base systems of games too much and making them lose their identity. I kind of want developers to sink back into the habit of making their own engine and having proprietary software that they know how to use and has a little bit of jank. I want some PS2 jank.
Yeah. It's like flair. We'll call it flair instead of jank.
Yeah.
Keith, what were you hoping for today, if anything, and how does Unreal Engine 5 stack against that?
I was hoping for, like we usually get during other events, actual game showcase, not necessarily gameplay, but at least, an hour's worth of new games coming.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess seeing what's going to be using the Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm still not totally sold that this is Unreal Engine 5, despite what I'm seeing on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just don't get... I mean, Keely's an enigma, right? On one hand, it's he's hyping up the way he said, this is going to be one of the biggest things of the summer. If Keely's saying that, it means more. But also, this is the guy that at the end of the last Game Awards put Fast and Furious Crossroads with Vin Diesel. So,
yeah,
maybe, I don't know, I get that in my head, Keely's thinking, Unreal Engine 5, this is going to help a ton of, smaller to even large-scale devs. And it's going to, usher, we're going to see, real next-gen stuff here. But, the people who are watching Summer Games Fest, especially after he showed Tony Hawk yesterday, I don't think that's what they want to see here. Something more like GDC or a games dev focused event where you know what you're getting into. Yeah, sure, go ahead. That's awesome. But something like this, I don't know, man. I think you're gonna piss a lot of people off. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's Jeff. People will forgive him once he does something else.
We have the stream muted right now. By the way, there is music playing.
Hang on, he's talking.
Yeah, he does. I think he just reminds people that it's going to start soon. But yeah, the reason we have it muted is because Jeff's playing all sorts of music requests. I think right now he's playing the Wii Shop theme. I think I read.
No, he's playing something. I don't know what the hell it is though.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, we're just about 10 minutes away. I do want to talk about other stuff we could potentially see. Again, I don't think it's a video game at the very least because he's taking the word game out of every possible place it could have been in for the promotion for this. But on the other side of it, right? Epic Games not on the list of publishers for Summer Games Fest Phase 1, right? So that could be a point in favor of, hey, maybe they're not here, maybe it's something else. I just don't know what else could be on the level that Jeff's hyping up, right? Unless it's the PlayStation 5 reveal or the Xbox reveal. But it's not going to be either one of those. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm kind of lost. I really hope it's something...
The revival of the Steam machine.
That's what I was thinking yesterday. If it was a game announcement, something by Valve after Half-Life Alyx could be on that level. Maybe something like Portal.
Yeah.
But even so, I don't think they'd be in the place. Even if they were making another game, I don't think they'd be in the place to announce anything like that yet, unless it was just a title screen. At which point, like, how do you do a 1 hour interview after that?
I mean, how many years does it take Gabe Newell to raise a finger? Like, he got to 2. Like, how long is it going to take? I think he's got some really bad arthritis.
Formed an A somewhere in there. What else was I
He's
thinking
just watching gang signs now.
If it's Unreal Engine, what I would like to see in this hour is the fruits of the labor of those who have had access to Unreal Engine, right? Like, Tim, we were talking about potentially Square Enix showing off something here.
Yeah. I think it'd be early. Like, I feel it would be too early to show stuff about the second part of Final Fantasy VII Remake, but it's a possibility if they're upgrading to that along with the PlayStation 5. So if they're hitting Unreal 5 and PlayStation 5, and like they aren't necessarily going to be showing the capability of the PlayStation if they did show something here. Like, it would very much more be about, like, here's what Unreal is capable of. And here's, like, a legitimate look at next gen, unlike the gameplay we saw from Xbox.
If Square Enix pivoted to Unreal Engine 5 for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, that's a mouthful. Do you think that would mean less time for Part 2 to be released, or more time?
Depends on the learning curve of
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? Because like in my head, they were just gonna base it off the engine they already have for Part 1, and then just like.
Well, they're on Unreal 4 right now.
Oh, okay. I was not aware of that. I thought they were using their own proprietary stuff.
Oh yeah, no. So both Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy VII Remake, both partway through development, switched over to Unreal.
Okay.
Yeah, both of them partway through. They had full resets.
Yeah. Also, if it is Unreal Engine 5, I think that like showing off like a bunch of like cool, weird looking indie games with like big booming 3D worlds would be cool. I just want to see. We know from inside Xbox, all we really want from these things is gameplay. That's what we're like craving right now. That's what we hunger for. We got a little bit yesterday. We got hyped and we were like, all right, Summer Games Fest is really kicking off now. But like, yeah, if this is just gonna be like 1 hour of like tech demos and UV maps, like I might just leave. I don't know.
I will say, so I don't want to see like the UV maps or anything, but as far as a tech demo, something that I think is valuable for them to do, because all of us here might not or may know what it is, but I think that ray tracing is still a term that is beyond like a layman's grasp.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not hard to understand, but people haven't necessarily had it explained at as wide of a base.
Yeah, they seem scared to delve into it in case they'd like lose some people who just don't care.
Yeah, so if they hit with Unreal 5 today and they're just like, hey, here's what ray tracing does, and they literally just show like a scene with like all the scattering and ray trace. Oh my god, they're playing the final countdown. But you know, if they can show off what ray tracing is capable of, because like I understand what it is, but I don't even know what that means for the next generation of games. Like, I can't visualize how that's going to impact games.
Right. Yeah.
So like, show us that, because you're literally adding that on as a selling point for both consoles.
You have reminded me of a thing I saw on Twitter a few days ago as well. So IGN put up an article after the Inside Xbox basically saying that like, temper your expectations for next gen. The visual upgrade is not going to be half as good as you think it is, right? And Kaylee retweeted that and said that this article will age very poorly very quickly. So that maybe they have like really something incredible to show us here that's going to blow our minds.
Yeah, and I do understand that perspective though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, trying to chase realism, you're going to get to the point where you hit reality, or maybe you even get just a tiny bit better than reality.
Yeah.
And then games are going to have to go back to selling on the fun factor.
Yeah, like Vampire the Masquerade when we saw it in Inside Xbox, right? It was like a weird setup where like the environment looked beautiful, right? And then like when you saw the characters, they looked
The models and
yeah,
animations.
they looked cartoony. But like I think that's by design. I don't think that's like them being lazy. I think that's like a purposeful, intentful decision that they made for that. But it just
It's always been.
there's a weird mismatch with the environment at that point. And like people,
Yeah,
are like,
I think they
"Whoa."
want to. I think they want to set up a world that is dark, but gameplay and interaction that is like fun and goofy and ridiculous and like I'm a
Exactly.
vampire, rawr.
Yeah,
That's basically what the first Masquerade was. It had a dark storyline and everything, but a lot of the options came down to I'm a vampire of this kind of lore.
God, I can't wait for that game. I never played Masquerades 1, but I watched a playthrough of it, and I am super in on 2. But that's what I want from it. If it is Unreal Engine 5, and I keep saying if because I hope it's not, but if it is, I want to see like some games attached to it, even if they're like really far off, don't have a date. I would like to know that I'm coming out of this 1-hour presentation today with some games to look forward to.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. If we see any games and it is Unreal 5, they are all games that are a long way off.
Mhm.
Like there are no games coming out this year if it's Unreal 5.
Yeah. Unreal 4
wonder-
literally just put their stuff in for PS5 and Xbox Series X
What I want
in their latest update.
What I want to see is them start off with a whole bunch of games, and then like midway through, getting to the interview point, they say, "Yeah, by the way, all these games are on Unreal 5,"
Yeah. All right.
and then they'll talk about Unreal 5.
Yeah. That'd be fun. That'd be like a cool little twist.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say like all these games are out today. But
No, no, God.
On Unreal 5.
Yeah, on Unreal
On
5.
Unreal 5. What?
Prepare your 3020s.
It's worth talking about in the minute and a half we have left. If it is Unreal Engine 5, Fortnite 2, anyone?
God, they already tried deleting Fortnite once. It didn't work.
Fortnite 3, I guess.
Well, but the thing is from everything I've understood on Twitter, Fortnite's dead.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, it is a game that my nephews will still play, but from my understanding, like, the visual scene, which for a lot of games like that, for a lot of shooters, the competitive scene is the visual scene. From my understanding, the competitive scene has been dying very quickly for that game.
Breaking news before I start, Liam just posted in chat that Unreal Engine have posted, like, UE5 reveal on their YouTube channel.
Oh my god, stop posting this stuff early, people!
They pulled a Tony Hawk, so I guess that's what we're in for.
Alright.
As the
Buckle
music
up.
stopped, can I turn up the volume yet? As the licensed music stopped. Oh no, they're still going.
It's still Final Countdown.
Still Final
It's still
Countdown.
Final Countdown.
That's
Hey,
a long song.
when it's the last 10 when it's the last 10 seconds, you can unmute.
Yeah, okay.
I'd say wait for like the 9-second mark though.
Right, here we go. I have my notebook out. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to note down, but we'll see.
You're just gonna write in all caps, Unreal 5. Still the whole page.
Next gen. Here we go.
Play the future.
Yep.
Okay.
Here we go.
Let me know if the audio is okay as always, chat. Their mouths are moving, but they're not. Oh, there we go.
Technical director of graphics here at Epic Games.
Oh, there's a
Hi, I'm
delay.
Jerome Plateau, art director of the special project.
A few years
Things
ago,
seem
we got
fine for
together
me,
as a
for the
team
most
and
part.
Okay.
brainstormed where we thought we could push forward the state of the art in real-time graphics. There were two key
Okay,
areas we
dynamic
figured out.
global illumination. So that
First,
sounds like something
dynamic
ray tracing would be the
global
job for.
Yep.
Beautiful bounce lighting instantaneously.
Let's see if Twitch
I
is
don't have to
better.
be constrained to do a game where the world has to be static. And I'm able to iterate a lot faster.
And we call this new system Lumen. We're about to show you what it is capable of. But first, there was another area that we thought we could push forward. Truly virtualized geometry. The artist wouldn't have to be concerned over poly counts, draw calls, or memory. We could directly use film quality assets and bring them straight into the engine.
And that's a big deal for artists. I just want to be able to import
I'm switching over to Twitch because the audio was desynced. There we go.
Before we continue, let's stop a moment and take a look at some of the key features of this demo. Much of what you see was built with Quixel Megascan assets, but instead of using the game versions, we used the cinematic versions, which would typically only be used in film. There are around 1 million triangles each, and thanks to virtual texturing, they all use...
Okay, so it looks like they're pulling a Square Enix.
Nanite
Yeah.
can render an insane number of triangles very quickly. There are over 1 billion triangles of
It
source
definitely
geometry
does.
in each frame that Nanite crunches down
Love
losslessly
triangles,
to
dude.
around 20 million drawn triangles. What does that many triangles look like? This isn't noise. These are the triangles, each a different color. Most are so small that they look like noise. Nanite achieves
Jesus.
detail down to the pixel, which means triangles
got a link
are
for the
often the
Twitch?
size of pixels.
Yeah, hold on.
This amount of geometric detail requires shadows to be pixel accurate as well, and Nanite can do that.
Yeah, because they're on triangles
Speaking
now.
of lighting, all of the lighting in this
Cameras
demo
are
is
broken while I do
completely dynamic,
this, and they're back.
with the power of Lumen that even includes multi-bounce global illumination. No light maps,
Oh,
no
great, I got
baking
an
here.
ad.
Without GI, all of that beautiful lighting is gone. With Lumen enabled, we can move the light and the bounce changes.
So-
instantly.
This is interesting. This is actually really interesting to me because this is similar to a engine technology that was revealed years ago, but never found practical usage or even really release.
Convolution
Because
reasoning
of
allows us to
power.
measure reverberation characteristics. Of
Yeah,
different
well,
spaces.
so there was
Like
that engine
practical
idea though, and I
cases,
can't remember what they
example,
called it,
and
but there was that
reproduce them
engine
in
that the
virtual
idea was it
spaces.
literally built on a
Sound
particle
field
system.
rendering allows
Like it
us
just
to
built
record and
the
play
world
back
out of
spatialized
molecules,
audio.
individual pieces.
Oh, the voxel system.
I'll have to look that up
All
real
of
quick.
this adds up to a more immersive experience.
And as Tim said earlier, we're getting to the point that games are not going to have to rely on looks anymore. They can't rely on their graphics because all the graphics are going to be pretty. They're going to
How
have to
much
rely
is
on
it?
their
Created
fun
with our
factor.
Niagara effects system. Particles in Niagara can now talk to one another and understand their environment like never before. We've also added a ton of new functionality to run fluid simulations like you see in the water.
I can't
below.
wait for next gen photo mode.
I kind of hope that that like goes away as like a landmark feature
What,
of
photo
games.
mode?
Like I hope that that.
The demo
Well,
runs
what I
on
mean
our
is like
chaos
I
physics
hope
system.
that that is
Here
not
we are using
something
it
that
to
games
accurately
make like
simulate the rigid bodies
central
of the
about their
fallen rocks
advertisement
and the
anymore.
cloth
Oh.
of her scarf.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I love it.
Like
I don't care.
oh, like I think it's great and it's a really good way for people to like share what they're doing in their games.
Yeah.
But like, if that's what you're gonna sell your game on,
Yeah, it should be commonplace.
you don't have my sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
It
that
shouldn't
the
be a selling
environment is
point
so
anymore.
complex, we've needed to
But can I
greatly
take
improve our
shark selfies
animation
in
systems
Maneater?
to adapt. We've added predictive
Can you?
placement and
Do we
motion
know
control,
that?
which dynamically modifies eye K and body
Just the shark
position
pulls out
to
a
look more
phone and
natural.
starts taking selfies.
For the character
What's
to more
fin?
realistically
Yeah.
interact with the environment, we've added the ability to trigger seamless contextual animation events, like her hand on the door.
Looks promising.
Dynamic GI is amazing, not just for speeding up iteration, but also for its impact on gameplay.
Nice.
Any light
Looks
source can move while
it
still
might
having
be.
beautiful bounce lighting. Dynamic illumination means specular as well, which you can see on all the metal surfaces. You can even see the Niagara-powered bugs reacting to the light. Lumen not only reacts to moving light sources, but also changes in geometry. Remember we mentioned high poly assets? This statue was imported directly from ZBrush and is more than 33 million triangles. No baking of normal maps, no authored LODs.
You know,
don't have-
Keith,
Hmm.
all this information they're talking about right now is really relevant to
We
a
can
certain
do more than
argument.
a single statue.
Hmm.
There are nearly 500
You know, things
of
about
that
lighting.
exact statue
All
and
right.
detail level placed in this room.
Don't
for
get
a
started
total
on
of
that
over
argument
6
here.
billion triangles from statues alone. Over this entire demo,
So I will say this,
hundreds of billions
like
of
what we're
triangles.
seeing here is probably the results of ray tracing.
Yeah.
the way that it's refracting around the environment.
It's just a lot harder to sell that on a compressed live stream.
Yeah, yeah.
So with Nanite, you have limitless geometry, and with Lumen,
Oh god.
you have fully dynamic
Oh.
lighting and global illumination. All
I get
running
lighting,
on
but
a
you don't have to make it
PlayStation
that
5.
bright.
Dark mode, please.
Dark mode.
I wonder will Unreal Engine 5 be free out of the box to all developers like 4 was?
I hope so.
I'm gonna be honest, like I would want to try to jump in on it. Like I think there's a lot to be stated for like the environment that is created on anything
This
when
doesn't need
it's
to be constrained to small rooms.
the initial
You can
launch.
stretch all the
Whether you're
way
talking about like an
to
MMO or an engine, there's very much something about the community that forms around something at its launch.
It's open. Don't fail me now.
She can turn into a bird.
This is what I want Assassin's Creed to look like.
A lot to be said about her leg.
Yeah,
not-
like there's a lot to be said about the fact that like this very much looks more like gameplay than a cutscene, like in terms of the movement,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but all the environment looks like it's out of a cutscene.
Yeah.
It's time to see what's next.
And then it flashes to Unreal 5.
Now, that engine that built things out of molecules, one thing that I will say that probably has on a system like Unreal 5, which is still using a polygon system, breaking environments. And I know that's something that companies have kind of gotten down to a science to a large extent now, but still feel like there's a good amount of
There you go. The Unreal
A lack of
Engine
realism.
5 is real, and that was the first real-time footage of something running on the PlayStation 5 as well. Such
Okay, so that
amazing day.
was
I think, for
PS5. Did they
gamers
say
to
that at
get
the
a
beginning?
glimpse at, where
Yeah.
games are going next.
Oh,
and
maybe they
now
did.
it's my honor to be joined.
Okay, yeah, I didn't catch that
three
was
guys
PS5,
from
so
Epic
that's
to talk a little
insane.
bit about today's announcement. Of course, we've got Tim Sweeney, Kim Library, and Nick Penwarden. Guys, thanks for joining me here virtually. This is a really big and exciting day. I mean, I think I just was so blown away when I saw this footage about what UE5 can do. And Tim, this is, I know, a special moment for you to have, put a 5 on this Unreal Engine. I remember the first time you showed me the original Unreal Engine, I think it was like 1996 at E3 at a Marriott Marina Del Rey. And I was looking back last night at like the old Next Generation magazine cover with like, can you believe this is what a PC screenshot of the original Unreal
Oh my
Engine?
God.
How
Can you
far we've
believe it,
come.
guys?
Tell me, I
Oh.
mean, this is a big moment for Epic, but what does this mean to sort of the company right now to be able to, debut the first PlayStation 5 footage, but also, introduce, a new numbered version of Unreal?
Well, this really is a generational leap or more in technological capabilities. And the hardware that Sony is launching is absolutely phenomenal. Not only an unprecedented amount of
Look at that guy's just got like
but
a
also
Yeah, I was
What do
gonna
you
ask,
call
did you just keep that on?
the floor.
Yeah.
architectures out of the water.
Like,
far ahead of
is that just something
even
you
the
have
state-of-the-art
running when
and
you're
the
not on camera?
highest end
He's just
PCs
like
you can
sitting
buy.
there like thinking in a dark room and he's got
so
his hands on it, he's
with
sitting
Unreal
down,
Engine
he's
5, we
like,
set out
how
to
do I
build
fit more triangles in this
a
engine,
new
man? How do I
generation of
fit more
technology that empowers
triangles?
creators to create
No, you forget though,
photorealistic
Finn, that
scenes
he's
that are
got like the
indistinguishable from
incense and he's got
reality.
his robe, like his hooded
and
robe,
so
and
with
he's
a
just
very high
sitting
degree of
there
productivity, right?
chanting
There's
his
two problems in,
mantras.
in
Oh,
game
magical
development,
orb,
right?
show
One
me
is,
the triangles.
the
Divine
features
to me,
needed
how
to,
many
achieve
triangles can I fit
complete
inside my new
realism.
Unreal
But
5
the other big
engine?
problem is just the
Is it a
cost and
coincidence
time it
that a
takes
Magic
for an
8
artist
Ball
to create a
typically
major
has a
piece of
triangle
content,
in it?
for next
I take pride in the
generation
fact that
gaming.
our
So
Tim
Unreal
has a
Engine
better
5 attacks
webcam
both
than
of
this
those
Tim.
problems. We have the nanite system for virtual geometry, enabling
Hey,
sub-pixel
I saw a tweet
geometry,
recently actually, so
which
this is a
imperceptibly,
C920 that I
just
have though I
Prismatically
have a better
different
camera, I
from
just
the,
don't have a
you know,
cam link because they're
full
not
high-quality
available right
assets. So
now.
the movie quality assets that were originally scanned.
But yeah, I saw a
also
tweet
the
recently that
Lumen
was like,
real-time
I
global
wonder how many
illumination
people have a
system,
C920 in their
not
room
only
right
to bring
now.
unprecedented quality and lighting to the environments, but
Yeah,
also to
exactly.
prevent us from having to worry about the details of lighting the
Everybody
levels,
in the Twitch chat's like, that
make all these
webcam!
trade-offs in static lighting versus dynamic lighting. And so we're really trying to empower developers here, and to
Tim is fully
enable
rendered
developers
in
to
Unreal
create
Engine
new generation
5.
experiences that are both unbelievably realistic,
You
but
can see his
also
triangle.
economical and practical for them to create without having to have a 1,000-person team.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that footage, you know, in 4K, I mean, just the level of detail is absolutely
I'm sorry,
stunning.
could you tell me what it looks like in
Tim,
4K?
maybe you could
Because
break
I
down a little bit of
don't
this, you
get
know,
to
sort
see
of
that in
visually
4K.
what's happening that makes it look so incredible.
It's
I know
also
you've got
such
couple
a
new
like such
systems that you're really
BM
proud
that
of.
like Jeff
Maybe
Gilley,
talk
like
about
behind him on his
Nanite,
desk,
what
has a
that
bat
is and how
symbol.
it works and how it's going to kind of shape games moving forward.
Okay, so Nanite
The
is
battery
a
rank?
new
Buried.
system
Yeah.
At least
in
it's
Unreal
buried.
Engine that lets us get down to almost sub-pixel levels of detail on the screen. You know, it's capable. It's possible because
He just
we
like
have a new
raises his
generation
hand and
of
he's wearing the
hardware
Elden Ring.
that really allows us to put loads and loads of triangles on the screen. And we thought that we'd come up with a new technique that allowed us to be able to create content in a similar way to the way that they do on movies today. So in fact, when you look at that demo, all them assets, Nana is basically ingesting all the movie quality assets from Quixel to make that scene. And the artist doesn't even have to think about it. They can move rocks and mountains and statues wherever they want in the scene and not have to worry about triangle costs anymore. Lumen, the global illumination system that Tim mentioned, that just produces incredibly realistic and accurate bounce
I will
lighting.
say
So
that
wherever you place
because I might have just missed it right now. Did they explain how they're managing to get that much data in, or are they just saying they can get
Yeah,
that
when I
much
saw that
data
demo,
in?
I was just so
they're just
blown
saying they
away
can get that
by
much, that's all I heard.
visual fidelity.
Yeah,
and
because
also I think how much
there's my major
felt,
concern.
at least
Like
to
they're
me
sitting
as
here
a
talking about
end user,
Unreal
how much
5
felt
and like
so much of the
how you
environment
don't
was
have to
streaming
worry
in real
about
time
how
with
many
so much
triangles there are in
detail,
your scene
especially that
anymore.
sequence where she's
And I'm just
flying
sitting here
through the
thinking
environment.
like,
you know, Mark Cerny
I
has talked a
until
lot
literally
about
the past 6
PlayStation
months
5 and the
had a
incredible,
750 in my
bandwidth it's
computer.
gonna have to, you know, move data from the SSD,
I have to worry
you know,
about how many
right onto
triangles you put in
screen.
your damn game.
Nick, can you maybe talk a bit about how that's sort of
They're
manifesting
mentioning something called
itself
Quixel
in this
technology,
demo?
but
I
yeah,
assume
that would
some
be
of,
like
you know, those improvements in
that's why this
PS5
is
are
like more like a
enabling
GDC
types
thing
of
than
things that just
this
weren't
thing.
possible in previous generations.
Yeah.
Like as far as I
So
know,
Nanite enabled the artist to build a scene
GDC
with,
last week
the
were
immense
still selling
complexity
tickets
that,
to
would
their
have been
delayed
impossible before.
GDC in
There
like
are tens
August,
of billions of triangles
which
in that scene, and
And
I have
now
no
all the
idea, but-
GDC conferences are just being dropped online,
we ended up
Yeah.
needing
but
to
being
do
hyped up as
is
like
streaming
gamer
triangles
events.
Yeah.
as the camera's moving throughout the environment. And the I/O capabilities of PlayStation 5 are one of
Well,
the
you can tell
key
someone
hardware
who
features
streams.
that enable us to achieve that that level of realism.
Okay, so did
Yeah,
you hear
no,
that
it's
though?
stunning to see that, and I think also
So
you know,
this was
the
a link
global
between two
illumination. I think
GDC
people have,
talks.
you know, heard
They
that concept
that guy
before,
literally just talked about
but now,
how
you know, really
the
manifesting
I/O
sort of in
system,
real time in
which
that environment
Mark
with,
Cerny
you know,
talked
the flashlight or
extensively
some of the
about
other,
on the
you know, lighting
PS5,
scenes.
talked
Can you
about how
guys
the
maybe
I/O
break
system
down
for the
sort of,
PS5
you know,
was critical
from
to getting
from the
this shit
gamer
running.
perspective, like how games are going to change because of
So-
the full global illumination?
Well, you know, first of all, this enables a much wider variety of games to have very realistic responses to light. You know, everything from from large-scale open-world types of games, you know, with day-night cycles.
Like there's nothing around it. He just
even
has it
seamless
on the floor.
transitions from indoor to outdoor.
Well,
It's,
look at all the
just,
shit on his desk.
it's
No wonder why.
one of the things that the developers don't have to worry about.
No, guys, all that
You know,
stuff was
it's
on
a
the
freeing
floor before he
technology.
moved
Not
it
only does
to
it
the
mean
desk
Yeah.
just
more
so he could
real-time
put
lighting
that
in the
there.
machines, but it also means there's a large set of problems that were very tricky in the previous generation that developers just don't need to worry about. And so I think you're going to see a much wider variety of types
I think
of
the
games.
orb is more in focus than Tim is.
Taking advantage of Lumen and taking advantage of Nana. One of the core elements of every new generation transition is new hardware capabilities with an order of magnitude improvement over previous generations enable entirely new types of games to develop.
I've been there though.
Battle
I think one of my
Royale genre
Christmas
doesn't
live
even take
streams
off,
I was doing
until
here. I
the
had my
current
TV in the
generation,
background and I really wanted like a
where
fireplace
finally
on
had
it.
enough computing and
I know
graphics
the
power
C920
to enable
doesn't like pick up
100-player game,
TVs too well,
with
so
very,
like I
very
had
high
to adjust the
fidelity
lighting and
encounters.
the
this new generation of
fireplace was
technology
like
that we're
lit
building
better
with
than
Unreal
I
Engine
was.
5 and that Sony's empowering with PlayStation 5 will enable entirely new types of
So I
gaming
get it.
experiences that we can't even anticipate yet.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk over the past couple weeks about the next generation and kind of will the leap be as great as previous generations? What are the types of things we're going to see? I think this demo, at least to me, is the first kind of real-time example of something that really grabs me. And I just want to confirm, like, what we're seeing there. That's
Bottom
all.
right doesn't want to be here.
Oh.
Like, you can actually play that with a controller. Like, that's not kind of frame dumped or anything. That's actually playable.
It's a fully playable demo, and
Wow.
we plugged in a recorder into the back of a PlayStation 5 dev kit and recorded the signal that came out over HDMI. So it's a totally live demo, and it's replayable, and it's a little bit different
Can
every
we
time
play
you
it?
play it.
Wow. No, because I mean that flight sequence, everything. That's what's so exciting to me is like this is
Yeah.
real time.
Hand that off to
footage.
players and
So
see how
what do you
quickly it
guys think,
breaks
I mean, when
people's
people say, like,
PCs.
what is the leap of this generation to be to sort of previous generations from like PlayStation 3 to
It'll be
4
the new
whatnot?
Can It Run Crisis
is
meme.
Is it any different this
Oh.
time? Is it going to be
Can
greater,
It Run
less,
tech
or we don't
demo?
know yet?
I think the sense of immersion, one of the great things about playing games is you can transport it to places that you could never go in the normal world. This level of lighting and detail really gets you to a point where you're feeling like you're inside a movie set. Things are so realistic, and it's gonna aid the storytelling. I think that the sense of immersion.
Who knows?
the
Maybe
feeling
this
the
would
player
actually
gets
make
from
Skyrim's
actually
environments
visiting
look
space
good.
will be much deeper than you've ever seen before.
And
I mean, like, a
ability
big
of
thing
the
is, like,
hardware
I know they
to
have
stream in
essentially the
massive
Aurora
amounts of content as you're
Borealis
going through a
in
huge
Skyrim. Like,
environment.
could you imagine that in this lighting
It's going to have
engine?
a much bigger impact on gaming than people are expecting right now.
I really don't
give-
want to see
Yeah.
any news of
Until
Skyrim on the
this
PS5,
next
Tim.
generation of hardware
I don't want to hear it.
Previous
Bad
generation
ideas.
console games had to be built to load.
You know they're
data
gonna
off
do
of a
it.
spinning mechanical device.
It's the only
right?
game they
And
have in their
from the
library.
1950s, and now Sony's storage system is absolutely world class.
I played Skyrim like
not
3
only the
times
best
already. I don't
in-class
need it again.
console, but also
I've tried to play it like
the
5
best on
times.
any platform, better than high-end PC. I think this is going to enable the types of immersion
So is
that
that the
we
first
have dreamed of in the past.
gameplay we've seen
the
of
world of loading
PS5?
screens is
Yep.
over,
Okay.
and the days of
Weird.
pop in and geometry popping up as you're going through these game environments are ended, and the resulting effect is.
I'm gonna be
the
honest,
ability to
I'm not
build
really
games that are
following
fully
the interview
immersive,
too well.
from start to finish over.
Yeah, no, I'm sort of
hundreds
getting bits of
hours
it.
gameplay.
This is
effects
why I
per
thought
game.
this was like a bad idea to have this
Yeah,
here.
no, incredible.
Or, like,
what
at
I
least
think
not
this is gonna
warn
enable.
people.
We've talked a lot about PS5. We know obviously
Yeah.
Unreal Engine runs kind of across all platforms.
Hey, Epic
including,
did warn
mobile,
people,
PC,
like,
and Xbox,
within
of course.
5 minutes
2 seconds
before the
before,
stream.
yeah.
What's your take on like what you're showing here? How is that going to scale to to other systems like this demo?
And then
we're seeing?
tomorrow
Is
we're gonna
it,
see
will that
PS4
run on the Xbox
gameplay.
Series X? Will it run on
With the
PC?
state of
How
play.
will it be
Oh.
different? Can you guys give us some context on that?
Well,
Well,
yeah, so-
I mean, Unreal Engine 5 is.
man,
going to
I have
run
to wonder if
across
they'll
all of
drop
our
something by
platforms,
surprise
next generation
tomorrow.
console, current
No.
generation consoles,
You
as well
will-
as,
If anything, they will like
mobile
have a
devices.
date
One
for
of
their
the,
PS5 event in there, just like
one
dropped.
of the key features that
But
we've been working on.
nothing.
is
I
being able
don't
to
think
build
it's going to be
content once
anything
and
besides
deploy
Ghost of
it across
Tsushima, honestly.
devices.
What if
So
they were
on,
saying though, like, hey, this is
higher-end
Ghost of
hardware where we
Tsushima
can support,
running on the
NetEye
PlayStation 5?
directly, we'll be able to render scenes at the fidelity that, that
Perhaps.
you just saw, like on PlayStation
Perhaps.
5. For say
You
an
missed
Android
that.
or iOS mobile device, what
From,
we will be able to do is have tools that help to scale that content
Unreal
down,
Engine 5.
so
That's
that
what's
you'll
going
be
on
able
here.
to take the game
That's
that you
all of
built
what's going on
at
here.
the highest
Unreal Engine
fidelity
5
level
and a
on
tech demo that
console
showed the first
and,
gameplay on a
bring it
PS5.
to all other devices.
That's it.
Tim, do you have a sense between like sort of all the like Xbox, PlayStation, all these other systems, like sort of they've made somewhat different choices? Also,
I will
some
say,
similar
like,
ones, obviously,
seeing
with
what we
SSDs
just
and
saw here
both.
today,
Do you have a sense of how they're going to sort of compare?
I think
in
Ghost of
terms
Tsushima
power or,
is a
how you
game
look
that
at
is
sort of,
viable
like,
to
the
showcase a
overall
lot of this
landscape?
stuff. Because
Well,
even
yeah,
in the
we-
tech
we
demos
love
they
our
showed in the
babies,
past
and
couple
we
years,
Jeff
they
just
had
asked
stuff-
Tim to end the console wars. I'm just pointing out.
Technology we showed here.
Oh, what did he say?
He basically said like
consoles, and high-end
Xbox,
PC.
PlayStation, like how does it
And
compare?
most importantly, this is what's possible and the absolute best hardware that's going to exist, at the end of the year. But these experiences you build, we will help developers.
But yeah,
scale down to,
Ghost of
every device
Tsushima,
that exists
like,
in the world. And
it
we
had all
really
of
hope
the stuff
and
with
hope to empower all
leaves being
developers to
scattered
do
all
what
over the
we've
floor
done
and
with
blowing
Fortnite
in the
this
wind and
generation,
blowing as
which
you
is
stepped
build
in. Like, it's
absolutely
very much like a
no
PlayStation 5
sacrifices, high-end console
potential
game,
game.
Lots of triangles.
And then bring it to every device,
Yeah.
including scaling
All
it
the
down to
triangles.
iOS and Android devices from years ago.
Each leaf
so
is
that
made out of
you
30,000
can
triangles.
reach a much larger audience of gamers than just the hardcore, some 200 million console players in the world.
So Kim, I know a lot of gamers around the world watched that footage and said, wow, I want to play that, but I'm sure they're also trying to kind of extrapolate out of that, since it's, this is not a game, it's a demo. How their games are
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't forget,
different in
you're
the next
talking
generation.
to
One
a
the things
lot
that
of
I really
game
took away
players
from it,
here.
was that flight sequence at the end, which was just incredible, and
Not a lot of
sort
developers.
the rubble coming down and things moving. Could you maybe talk about sort of how the game experience might change with UE5? Sure, it's going to look, visually more beautiful, but how is it going to play different?
So traditionally on this current generation, if you wanted to make a photorealistic environment, the way that people do that is they bake lighting into the environment. The problem with that means the environment is not dynamic. You can't move things around. You can't incorporate user-generated content because you don't know what it is prior to
38 minutes.
But with this
Left of this interview.
technology, with the Lumen technology and Nanite, it means that worlds can be super rich and super dynamic. So not just destructible components, but mutating components and things that change beyond the release of the game. Every day, an environment could have grown and changed, and that can all be calculated live.
And does that extend to I assume destructible environments?
Fortnite
and
will
whatnot,
migrate to
allowing
Unreal
people
Engine
to
5 in
really
mid-2021.
that sequence in the flight where you sort
Is
of,
this
saw
officially
the
a thing that they
tower crash
announced?
down or
Yeah, it's from
whatever,
Unreal
that
themselves.
felt to me, I
Okay.
hadn't seen
Or
that
Epic,
level of
I guess.
detail in a game like that. And some games like Uncharted or whatever sometimes have big destruction moments.
It's
but it
really
felt
going
like
to
that
do a
was
lot for that
so
game
detailed and so
visually.
realistic. Is that partially
Let me tell you
because
right
you
now.
can now move the environment more in real time?
Don't show the bright
Yes,
lights.
and even things like when we open that big dome where all the statues are,
You will
Hey,
see that
just
5
goes
more
in and
times before
bounces
this is
all over
over.
the place.
Finn, you know what
really-
this
the way you
means?
would have had to
It just
do that
means
has
that
to
your
put
towers
cheek, and now it
that
can be
pop up
fully
when someone
dynamic.
shoots
can
you
blow a hole in the sky
are going to
and
be
the light
like
will come through.
more realistically
You can
shaded.
choose randomly
You'll get to
colored
see like
lights
the individual
so that
light
it's
beams
brighter,
coming in through
then they're
the
gonna have
like
an effect
wicker
on the whole
sides.
world,
Yeah.
so it'll still look realistic.
So in the past, you could get that effect, but it would have to be
Ray
sort of
tracing.
calculated, I guess. Is that how it worked?
Yeah, exactly.
It'll
And even if
it'll
you
look
wanna,
like this
if you were
demo,
saying
but
you're
it'll
in a
still
dungeon
somehow manage to
and
run on a
you place
Switch.
a light, and you see you've got a candle that you happen to have in the game, and you
A
place
Switch
it.
Pro.
That will bounce around corners, so you can explore with limited light sources. And the old-fashioned gag of having a flashlight beam isn't what you need anymore. You can actually use light in really interesting ways.
Yeah, and
They pulled
even
the
beyond
gag of
games,
using
Unreal
a
Engine has been,
flashlight in this
applied
game.
to so many amazing aspects of entertainment. Of course,
Well, I think he
everyone knows
means
The
like you don't
Mandalorian, how
have
that
to
used
have
Unreal
the
Engine, and,
engine's
there's
pre-built
Weather
conical
Channel, there's
light
so many other
source.
uses of UE.
Okay.
Can you guys talk about how sort of UE5
Like
is going to
something I think about
tie
that's
into
really
those
interesting
experiences
if you
and,
have it
I
interact
assume you see this
truly
convergence
as
of
it
kind of
would on
everything
like a
coming
physical
together,
level,
through an engine
a
like
lantern.
Unreal, in terms
So
of
you're
realizing
walking
entertainment.
in like
how will
we'll say like a
UE5
Lovecraft
sort of,
game.
be used in those
You're
fields, or
walking
how
through
will
the
that change
blowing
the
winds and
pipeline
rains, and you have this
non-game
lantern,
experiences too?
and it's your only light
So
source.
one of the great things
But it's
about
blowing
Nanite
around,
is
so
that
like
it'll
as
finally
the
allows
lantern
content
obscures
creators
the light in
all
other
kinds
parts,
to be able to use movie quality
the
assets.
lighting
So
around you
there
changes.
really won't be a difference.
So
If
you've
you're
got to
building
sit
an
there and
environment
like
for
figure out how to
film
get your lantern
versus,
steady so you
a
can
video
actually
game,
see like
or you're
there
making
could
an
be
IP that's
legitimately
transmedia,
interesting
you can
things
build
done
things
with
the
this
same way
if they're
now.
having
And that
light
was honestly-
basically
that was-
operate as a physical
we had
object
so
now.
much exposure to film customers over the last few years using our engine that we really wanted to
Am I
remove the
misremembering,
barrier,
or did they
for
have
them
the like
and for all game makers.
stupid
Right
thing
now,
in the
you
middle
just-
of that demo
you
where
pick
like
a high
the character
resolution
has to
asset you want,
crawl
you load
through
it
like
in,
a
you
tight
don't have to
space
think
to get
about
to load the
making
next
levels of
area?
detail or normal maps
Yeah,
or any of
they
the
had
usual
that.
stuff that
I
goes
thought
with
we were
making
like
game
done with
content.
those.
I didn't notice
It's a
that.
freeing experience
I think I
for
just saw a
anybody
gif of it
trying
on Twitter. I
trying
don't
to
know.
tell a story or to make an experience.
Yeah, they showed it.
That's amazing. So in the
Yeah,
eyes of a
well, and it's
consumer,
funny
like, you
because
see an
I
asset
think I
that's in,
mentioned that
a movie, and that they
during
can drag that over to the
the
game now, whereas
during
in
one
the
of
past they would have to
these
sort of,
things, or maybe we
reduce
talked
down the
about it separately. I don't know
polygons and kind
who
of,
I might have
kind of
talked
scale
about this
it down
with,
for a
but
game engine.
they
In
they
fact,
say,
actually, Quixel,
oh, we can get rid
that's
of
also
like
part of
this
it.
need to
Their
obscure
assets, they
environments,
come-
and then
when
I
you-
just
when you
thought
take an asset
developers
from
are going to
Quixel
find a way
Store,
that you have to put
there is
that
a
right
movie
back in the
quality
head.
version that would be used
Like
in movies. I guess they were involved a lot in the Jungle Book movie a few years
even
ago.
if it's
and
just
many
developers
movies
being
today
like,
use
oh, we can
assets.
be more
And they
careless
also
now.
have-
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
if we
that
just
leads
drop
to
a
that
giant
goes-
Godzilla every time we spawn a new level
You don't have to have that distinction.
Yeah.
Nanite will just take
and
the
render it in
asset
real time.
and
Let's
do
do
the
it.
right things with it.
Horizon Zero
One of the
Dawn,
things I know
anybody?
with the UE4, a lot people, were worried about, oh, it's it's breaking some of the pipeline of things that people had
But
done
hey,
previously. And it sounds
that
like
company
this
uses their own
you're
engine.
saying it's going to be kind of a pretty seamless
They do,
transition
they
to
do.
UE5, right? That's important for you, sort of have
I'm still saying this is
forwards
they're going to
compatibility?
be a game reveal, so
Yeah, absolutely.
The only other
we
company
wanna
that has
support,
used that engine
developers bringing their games
is
from
Kojima
UE4 to
Productions.
UE5, and in fact, we will be doing that.
What did you say,
ourselves with,
Keith? Did you say
Fortnite.
they're talking about game reveal here?
We will be shipping Fortnite.
Apparently
on
they're still saying there's going to be one.
console on,
Okay.
UE4.
Maybe they
Yeah,
are.
And then
because
next year we will be bringing Fortnite to
in the
UE5
hashtag,
as well.
hashtag
So we'll be
Summerfest
testing
game
out that
reveal.
experience of bringing a game along from UE4
Hmm.
to UE5
Maybe,
and making sure
unless
the
this is going to be
transition
the talk fest.
is
I think it is,
manageable.
man.
Wow. Yeah. Fortnite obviously is such
I'm
a
seeing
phenomenon,
Maximilian
as
dude
you mentioned earlier, Tim,
emotes go
with,
through.
battle royales, but also I feel like Fortnite has turned into really.
It's a weird insight into
metaverse-like
Keely's brain, like
platform
what
where
he
we're seeing
thinks
kind of different
is
experiences powered by
massive
Unreal.
news
And I was wondering if you guys
versus
could talk a bit
Tony
about that,
Hawk.
because I look at the Travis Scott concert and I see that as an amazing experience, but it sort of was an interactive music video in a way, and then you watch the YouTube video for his new song. It's actually just what was in Unreal. How do you see all the sort of
That was
worlds
cool,
of
though.
entertainment combined?
Shit that
into
Fortnite
longer
does is
term?
cool.
And obviously, based on what Kim was saying, it's now going to be even easier, I guess, for the assets to move. But from an experience standpoint, do you see kind of a blending
It's funny though
of
because they make
games
it
and more
look a lot
traditional
more cool
entertainment
than it actually
powered by
is.
Unreal?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like,
All of these
it's just
worlds
what
are
they're using their
colliding,
platform
right
to
now
like
in real
try
time.
and do things that
We're
games haven't
seeing
done before.
The sort of film
Yeah.
production that's being done on The Mandalorian and other projects all around Hollywood, film and television.
These guys are tired.
Being able to move directly to games in the future.
Really tired.
I would imagine
Now
they
we've
probably
got
pulled an
Marvel
all-nighter
content
just
in
making
Fortnite,
sure
Star
everything was
Wars
ready for
content in
this.
Yeah.
Fortnite, and each of those processes started with
If not a
rebuilding
couple all-nighters.
their
Yeah, like I wouldn't be
movie quality
surprised if that
assets,
video
for
was sent to Jeff
real-time,
Keighley literally
visual
within the
tools.
past
But,
like
in the
6 to
future-
12
Yeah,
hours.
they accidentally just
This is
posted
going
it to
be
YouTube and Keely
an
just
exercise
played
to
the
build
YouTube
every asset
video.
exactly once and then put
Yeah.
it everywhere. And the future isn't just going to be
Tempted
about
to pull
Unreal
out
Engine
ice cream
serving a
and just
bunch
start
of
eating.
separate markets. We're helping architects visualize their creations now, and that's awesome. We're helping film and television makers, virtually produce their work.
We're talking a lot about
in
film and
real
television.
time, with actors and
Yeah,
and
it's
actresses in front of
interesting to
cameras and,
hear
and
that
big
talk
LED screens
in regards
instead
to a
of,
game
green
engine.
screens,
It's
and
not
making
outside of the
production
realm of
process much
possibility, and I'm
more
sure it's
efficient,
already been
real-time,
done. I
and
just don't
higher
know of
quality.
examples, but
But in the
it's interesting to
in
hear
the
it talked
future, all
about
these
this
assets
in
are going to
depth.
come together,
Yeah.
and Epic's not
It seems
going
like they're trying to
just
push it
play
as
a
like,
role in supplying
if you're a movie studio,
creation
if you're
software
making an
to all
animated
these
movie, you
different
could use
industries.
this too.
We're going to
You're making
help
CGI,
everybody,
use this.
consumers, with
So what
real-time
you're
3D
telling me,
content.
Finn,
When
is
General
Unreal
Motors
is pulling an
released their,
Xbox
Corvette
One.
car configurator for
Yeah.
the 2020
Television,
Corvette.
sports,
It was powered by
television.
Unreal. It was
Cristiano
running on
Ronaldo
cloud,
rendered
and
in
you go
Unreal
there and
Engine
you can
5.
Configure your car right then, but that was disconnected
Oh,
from
God.
the rest of the gaming world.
No, what
the
they
next step,
rendered was
all of those
Cristiano
types of
Ronaldo
experiences
playing
is
Cristiano
being able to offer
Ronaldo
that content
on an
for all
like
their internal
Super
work, whether
Nintendo
you're
or an
building,
N64 or
designing a
whatever
home,
on his
for a
TV
customer
in
as an
Unreal
architect,
Engine
or
5.
you're
I want
designing
them
a
to
car,
have a
or
picture
you're building
of
a
Cristiano
television
Ronaldo and then
series.
like an Unreal
want
Engine 5 render
the
of
next
Cristiano
generation
Ronaldo
of
and
these
just like
experiences
the
to be
text, can
bringing
you tell
all
the
those
difference?
assets directly to gamers in a fun way, deploying them into Fortnite.
Can you-
But the
Unreal,
model they
Unreal
use in
Engine
Unreal
games,
5 is
being
just
able to
the
reach a
model
vast
from the
consumer
N64.
audience, right? It's like it's like the
it's
transition.
PS2 model.
Didn't they
world
do
went
that at
through
the
in early days of
Xbox
the internet,
One,
and then
like
social
initial
media,
reveal where they had
for a
LeBron
while
James
it
talk
was
to
just
digital LeBron
companies
James?
talking to customers one-on-one, and now
They
it's
did. I think they did for an
ability
NBA
to reach
2K game.
customers directly through your Facebook page,
I'm
or
LeBron
your
James.
Twitter
Hi,
page,
LeBron
your
James.
Twitter account, or anything like that. But the next generation of these experiences is not just text and video. It's real-time 3D. It's a social experience where players are together with.
Man,
all
I
their
just
friends
realized,
and
though, this
experiencing
is-
all of these companies' content together in real time. And it's a
I'm
world that's
wondering,
not gonna be
like,
powered
what the
by
impact of this is
advertisements
gonna
that
be
pop
on
up and annoy
VR.
you. It's a world that's going to be
Like as we get
powered by
closer and
awesome
closer
content
to
that
like
these companies make
truly
available
realistic
to draw your
graphics with
entertainment
VR and
experiences.
whatnot,
And,
like
we're blazing
I'm
this
really
path to some
wondering where that's
extent
gonna
with
lead.
Fortnite, but there will be
Sword
a
Art
lot of
Online.
other games heading in this direction. A lot of them powered by
Hey,
Unreal
there's
Engine,
already
and,
a
I think this is
Korean
the next step
MMO
in the
coming
entire
out.
digital content industry, not just gaming, but
or
the
no,
whole
Japanese,
thing.
wasn't it?
Which one?
I
Blue
couldn't
Protocol?
agree more. It's so exciting to feel that games are going to be at the center of this. But as you said, I think this,
people are already saying
the
this
shared
is going to be the
experiences
Sword
that
Art
you're having in
Online of
Fortnite,
MMOs,
even,
and here I am,
concert
like, I don't want to get
experience.
trapped
There's
in a
no
video
gunplay
game.
or combat involved. It's just a shared.
Wait, but
already
Naki,
so
you're
compelling.
Keith,
And
you're
as you said,
already trapped in
powered by
FF14.
Unreal, and then when you think of, as you said, those movie assets and,
No, I'm
and
not. I
all
haven't
the other
played in
assets
a
coming
month
together in a
or
world,
two.
it's really exciting. One thing I wanted to ask you about was the content creation path, because we've seen a lot, especially in Fortnite, with creative mode and a lot of fans of Fortnite starting to build levels, and obviously UE, you guys I think have really focused on kind of making it accessible, lowering the royalty rates for kind of upstart developers. Can you maybe talk a bit about sort of the your vision of kind of how easy it is to build something in Unreal? I mean, are we going to get to a level where it is sort of like a Photoshop where you can kind of just jump in and build a game, or what is that barrier?
Photoshop is the benchmark for easy.
Epic
don't
is
use
working
Photoshop,
to
man.
address the whole
I will
range
say,
of content development scenarios.
I think
all the
Photoshop's
way
easier
from,
than GIMP.
Yeah.
Your
Oh,
AAA
wait,
game developer
way
or
nicer.
your
Yeah.
feature film in Hollywood.
Not as
being
free,
produced
though.
using world-class photoreal assets.
I
all the way down
tell
to,
people all the time,
indie
if
game
Adobe would
experiences
just
and,
sell me
content
their
creation
products, I
for
would buy them.
the
Yeah.
100 million people who want to build stuff
Instead
that
of
aren't professional modelers. and
hey,
haven't
you
had
can
training
rent our
in that.
product.
And
Yeah.
the continuum of experiences spans Fortnite Creative, which has been used by over 100 million people, all the way up to Unreal Engine 4 and the Unreal Editor, which is an insanely powerful piece of software that's actually pretty complicated to learn.
Tell me about it.
Over time, these tools and technologies will be coming together in some exciting ways, and we're not ready to talk about all of it yet. But Epic is really thinking about and putting a lot of effort into addressing the entire continuum of content development and content deployment scenarios. And we feel that
I feel like this guy has a
world
Word
is little
document
bit
open in
broken
front
right
of
now.
him.
If you look at the app
And he's just
stores
reading it.
on smartphones, you have 250,000 games.
He's
each
reading those
competing
stats off of something for
Yeah.
the
sure.
top 10 charts, where
I can
virtually
see
all
it
the
in his
sales
glasses.
occur.
Yes, I was
You have
looking.
a
I was
small
like, that's a
number
Word
of winners
document.
and a whole lot of losers in that way, and it's not a fair situation for game developers. And you have a lot of
And so he
games
mentioned a
that just get
platform,
lost because
and
they
it is
have
something
been
that I thought
discovered.
about, like, how are they really going to
you know,
sell Unreal
More
5
and more, we want to enable
for a mobile
content
platform?
creators to reach the audiences within a
That's going to be a hard sell.
And, this has been part of the industry since the days of Quake and Unreal Tournament, when user mods became possible, and we and id Software released our first tools, so the community could start building.
What do you
their own
think, like
stuff.
5
Now,
years before phones
it's
are able to
reached
do
a
ray
scale of
tracing?
Hundreds of millions of users. If
10?
you look at what Fortnite is doing, and Minecraft
3.
and
Give it
Roblox
3.
overheating.
User content creation, but
Combusting in
I
your
think
hand.
I think right now you have two separate worlds, right? You have the professional tools of Unreal Engine and Unity, and then you have.
I live in Arizona.
the
My
tools
phone
for the
threatens to blow
masses
up in my
in
pocket on a
Fortnite,
daily
Minecraft,
basis.
Roblox, and they're really not
Yeah.
connected anymore. They're not connected at all. And the next step is to cross over
just getting a
and
little
to
bit too
enable
hot.
all of the content tools to reach all of the customers and all of the
I
ways
think
that they
people
play
are
games.
tweeting at
And this is something that we're thinking a lot
Warner
about,
Bros. Montreal
and,
angrily
we're doing a lot
about
of
why
work on
Batman
in
isn't
the-
here.
in the coming years.
Awesome
They
to hear.
they tweeted out, thank you
we've
very
talked
much
a lot,
for the
obviously, about,
enthusiasm
like,
for our next
graphics
project.
and,
At this
play
time, our
and
channel
things
will
that are,
showcase
very
the studio,
powerful and visual
who we
and
are, and why we
graphic.
love making
But I
games.
want to
So
talk
stay
about
tuned.
the underlying architecture.
Relax,
So,
everyone.
and
what you're- so what you're-
Relax.
online services.
So what
I
you're
know that's something
telling
that,
me,
Epic
Finn,
is focused on about kind of
is
connecting
that
people,
the
you know,
entire
in
Batman
crossplay,
community
but
is just
also,
going,
finding ways to bring communities together.
Where is it?
And I
Give
guess
it to me!
some of that's tied to UE5, but also it's just a general platform.
Sega
approach.
just
But can you
tweeted
maybe
out
share
something
a bit
about
on kind
Virtual
of your
Cop.
vision on the other aspects of Unreal and Epic and how that's going to sort of evolve over the next few years too?
Hashtag Sega
Yeah,
forever.
today we're showing Unreal Engine 5 for the first time, but we're launching the Epic Online services to all developers in the world.
Wait, so
across
here's
5
my question. Did
platforms right
Sega,
now,
like,
and
think
you
they
can
were a
download
part
the
of this?
Epic Online
Or
services
something?
SDK
Like, did all
and use
these
it right
companies
away.
think they were, like, a part of
What
this
this
and
is
are just,
a
like,
set of
trying to ride
all
along
the
with
online
this?
features that we built for Fortnite, including cross-platform friends that span 7 platforms, enable players to connect together with all of their friends everywhere. Despite
what's
the
happening?
different
In the
account
middle of this
systems and
interview
friend
where Jeff
systems
Keighley is
that
supposed to
exist
be
on
paying
each
attention,
platform,
every time it's zoomed in on
the
someone
console
else, he's
platforms
tweeting.
and on Steam. And
Jeff
we're
knows.
opening it
5
up
minutes
to all
ago, he just
developers for
tweeted.
free.
I remember being blown
and
away
the-
when Mark
the
Rain
goal
and
here
Tim
is,
Sweeney
is to
first
help all
showed me the
developers work
Unreal
together
Engine
to
at
accomplish what
E3
we accomplished with
1996.
Fortnite, and to build.
Shout out to Jeff because, like, usually
social
if you're under
ecosystem
normal
together with
circumstances
all
right now,
the
he'd
other
just be on
developers
like
in
a
the
couch
industry,
with like key
right?
cards, and that would be his
Instead
job.
of,
But now he's
instead
like
of players,
engineering the whole stream,
being
like
siloed into the
and hosting
into
and
the one platform
running the
they're
video
playing on,
call.
and
You know,
we want them to be able to reach
us three
all
at
their
least
friends
have
everywhere, but
been there.
also,
We
all
know
their
how hard it
friends
is.
across multiple games. And that's the really interesting thing about the Epic account services that we're launching. If you choose to use Epic accounts in your game, then you can reach the entire Fortnite player base.
Oh my God,
which is,
no! Please don't be.
over 350
Please,
million
sorry,
users,
applicants. No, they've already.
and
It's
more
gone.
importantly, It's 2.2 billion social connections between players. When
Epic
two players
accounts
become
would
online
make it really
friends,
easy
start
for
playing
crossplay.
together, those friend connections now persist across games.
Yeah.
From all of the different publishers who choose to use these services. And
I'm surprised, by the
it's
way,
it's
that
the most
like
open
Epic
set of services that have been launched
forced
to date,
that door
that
open
really
with
helps to bridge
Sony,
the gap,
and no one's taken advantage
that's
of it.
existed in all
Yeah.
of the other
No,
other
it
platforms.
happened, and we were like, yeah, we've
Until
reached
recently,
the
really
moment
only
we can all
Epic,
do it now,
EA,
and then nobody did
Activision,
it.
Really big companies
Yeah.
with a huge set of development resources that had.
Though I
the
also
capability
kind of
building
didn't
that sort
expect
thing. But now
that
this
to
is open,
hit
and it's
until
approved by
this
all three
year.
of the console makers for use on their.
Because
on their
most of the games
platforms,
coming out
and
last year
it's,
were
ready for all
too
game
far
developers
into
to
development to
and,
implement something like
So we're
cross-platform.
really trying to help the industry get to a better place.
The whole
And we
entire
think,
Twitch chat's like, give us Fortnite
the core of
or
the game industry are
give
these
us the Batman
300 million
game.
hardcore gamers
Fortnite
across high-end
has, of
PCs
course,
and,
announced that it's
you know,
coming to PS5 and
console,
Xbox Series
but
X at
There
launch.
are billions of gamers worldwide,
Hmm.
and I think the next
Is
stage
it
of the
gonna be
industry's growth is
crossplay?
going to come from connecting these.
Good question,
audiences,
not
and
mentioned.
not with low-end casual games on one set of platforms and high-end games on
Now
another
here's
set of
here's
platforms,
my
but getting all the
question:
players
when
to
they
play
release
together,
Fortnite 2 and its
enabling all developers to
campaign,
release
will
their games
Fortnite
on
2
all
players be able to
platforms,
play with
as we did
Fortnite
with
1
Fortnite.
players? And Fortnite 1
Yeah,
players will get
think
all the same
that's
multiplayer
such an interesting
content.
idea that these gaming platforms also
Does my
become,
Fortnite account progression and
another
items
social
I've purchased
network now.
carry
I know
over?
you guys
We
have
plan to support
House
cross
Party
progression
that's
across
been very
console
successful
generations
over the
and
past
platforms so that
few
your
months
account
especially,
progression
but it
and
feels
items
like
carry
now,
over.
you
So,
talk
yes.
those numbers with Epic Online Services, it
Okay.
starts
Well,
to feel like
you answered
this
that.
is
Will
You
Fortnite
know,
support
Twitter or
crossplay on
Snapchat
next-gen
or
consoles?
Instagram.
We intend
It's
to
this
support
way
crossplay across all
connect people.
platforms, including
Is that
current
part
and
of your
next-generation
longer-term vision,
consoles.
is that people will use
Well,
sort of these game services as
good
kind
on
of
you,
a
Epic.
gateway
Yeah.
to connect with people, and you know, games are a part of it, but also
I'm
just
less
the
upset
larger
about
sort of social
downloading the
graph
Epic
will
Games
be
Launcher now.
kind of the gateway to it will be through a game.
Oh
engine.
yeah, did he tell you about
Well,
that,
yeah,
Finn? That Maneater's
what we're noting here is the
at least a
opposite of
timed
a walled
exclusive
garden,
for
right?
Epic.
Yeah, I've already
enabling
like
all
made my peace with
publishers
the Epic
use
Game
all
Store. I have
the
too many
different
games on there now,
systems
so
and,
like I'm in. I'm bought
using
in.
these services.
I mean,
and we're working with all of the different console.
You know what
makers,
really upset me?
And other platforms.
When
and
Fortnite was
services
like at
to
its
help
peak,
interconnect them.
I'm sitting
you know,
here
the most
as
interesting
a
thing about this, and if you-
development student, like a
is,
game development
if you
student,
start playing
with
Fortnite
Unreal
on
Engine on my
PlayStation,
computer,
and then
and
you wanna
because
play
I
the
have
game on
Unreal
an
Engine on
iOS
my
device,
computer, I have an
on
Epic
iOS, you
account,
can log in with your PlayStation
and it's
account,
getting hacked because
and
people
then
are
you get all
trying
your
to hack my
PlayStation
Fortnite
progress
account,
transferred
which
over.
I really
You
don't
start
have.
playing on
sucks.
PC, then you create an Epic account. Then if you go to Xbox,
Is there,
then you
like,
can
two-factor
log in with your
authentication for
account
Epic
on your
games?
Xbox.
Yeah,
and so,
I have it.
This isn't a walled garden. Rather, it's an attempt to connect all of the different services, you know, some of which have different degrees of openness. And I think that's really going to be freeing for the industry. It's going to mean that everybody can talk to everybody else, and there's no one company controlling the whole thing. Rather, it arises as a result of the cooperation between all of the different companies in the ecosystem who finally realize that they can grow better and build better businesses if instead of trying to let players into their platforms, they enable their players to connect with all of their friends across all platforms.
I don't know. I don't think they've caught on to that yet.
You know,
I don't
we
think
have a
they've
lot
caught
of
on yet,
devices in our
Sweeney.
lives, and everybody who has an Xbox or a PlayStation also has an iPhone or an Android device. And you know, to really enable the next generation of industry growth, we've got to be able to connect all of these users with all of these friends and set aside kind of the old feuds that defined previous generations of
Now,
console
Tim Sweeney,
business.
I have a question. How do you feel about
So,
charging
with
people
everything
per
we're
match to
describing,
play
I
a
think
game?
of, you know, a show like The Mandalorian, which, you know, we all
It's
watched and loved.
weird.
All those assets are there. I mean,
That,
nothing
like,
prevents them now
just a
from
week
building
ago,
kind of an interactive
Unreal Engine 4
experience, I
added
guess,
their
around
support
that
for
they could
PS5
power
and
with
Xbox
something
One
like
X, right?
Unreal, and, you know,
So like,
maybe it's a
you're a
game, maybe
developer,
maybe it's
developer,
just sort of this shared
you're like
experience.
thinking
And
about
it feels like
developing
you know, the visual
like
fidelity
a game
now,
for next generation,
that these
and you're
next-gen
like,
consoles will
well, I can
bring.
start
I mean,
on Unreal Engine 4, but in a years'
so what
time,
you were saying, Kim and Nick, it's like,
UE5 is going to be
are
out.
things going to look just like movie visual effects?
Well,
what are
yeah,
the things that
and
guess
I don't think
real-time
they've
games
delved into
can't do
that
still that we
yet.
get to see in some of
That's
these other
something
shows?
that I think a lot of
You know,
people
I think
really
we're
want to
getting
know
more
about
technical
is
on
like
this
how
generation,
easily
so
can
we
I
get to the point
upgrade
where
my
people
project
will
from
tell
4
the
to
difference
5?
between the virtual world
How
and the real
like
world.
easy
There's
is it to
still, physical
retroactively
phenomenon, big,
fit those
massive
newer
explosions
components in?
and,
Yeah, because if so anyone starting now has to
waves
like
crashing on
delay
the
a
beach. I
year,
think they're
right?
still
Yeah.
one generation off before they're perfect.
Or they
We're
have
getting
to,
closer and
you know,
closer,
spend a year
and
building
one
up
of the coolest
assets
things
because
that
they
we've
said that you
seen,
can easily
with
drag
the
and
advent
drop in
of
assets.
shows like The
Yeah,
Mandalorian
just
starting
straight
to
out
use
of
the
ZBrush
engines.
and whatnot.
They're beginning to
Yeah.
understand that a game engine is
You don't have to bake
out
But I-
pretty real-time pixels.
I will
They're
also tell
understanding
you,
that game engines, especially
skilled
Unreal,
3D
is built
artists
for building
work
these very
extremely
immersive
fast.
simulated worlds.
I know
So
because
we're
I
seeing
have
people
worked with
say
an
they've got a car
extremely
chase
skilled
in their
3D
TV
artist.
show that they're trying to make.
Oh, I've
Then they'll actually
seen
drive
3D
cars with
artists
steering
build
wheels
things
and
from the ground up
joypads
in less than like 30
to
minutes.
race against each other and then film that after the fact.
And it's
So
like,
it's
what
starting
the
to
heck
become
are you
very,
doing? I can't do
almost
that.
like very
I can't
Matrix
even
way in the
think
way
in
that
30
they're using
minutes.
simulation for cinematic content creation. And I think that's just going to get more and more common. And as they start to rock the potential of what real-time interactive entertainment
We have
is
20
about,
minutes. I'm going to get
I think
another
you're
drink.
going to see traditional storytellers
All right.
making the move into video games. And
I wonder
and
is
backwards
next
and forwards, I
generation
think
gonna
this very, very fuzzy
like
world
close the gap
where
between
it's just
like when you watch a
entertainment.
game now
You're
you're
building
like,
an
okay,
IP,
this
game,
is
TV show. It can
like
be all of
a
these
sort
things.
of
And
pre-rendered
it's gonna be a pretty
gameplay
exciting
thing,
decade.
and this is an actual
And I'm sure
cutscene
some
I'm
people
watching.
saw that.
I wonder is it
you
gonna
know,
like
the
close the gap
showcase that
between those two
guys
where you
just
can't
showed, the
tell
demo,
anymore.
And everyone's like, I want
Yeah,
to play that
'cause,
game,
like,
but we should clarify that's not
Even
a
with Final Fantasy
game, I
VII
don't think,
Remake,
right?
there
It's
is
just a
still
tech demo?
very much that extremely noticeable gap.
No, we feel it's the best way to present, especially something that was built for the game
like,
conference.
Literally,
is to show
the,
something
like
within
just
the
the
context
smallest
of
cut,
the
and you'll
gameplay.
know,
So,
like,
and it
okay, I'm
also
in a
means,
pre-rendered
one of the
cutscene on
reasons
Final
why
Fantasy
animations
VII now,
is
which
the
there's only
engine.
like
So it
2
was
or 3
much
of in
better
the
to actually
entire
have a
game.
world that you can walk through, play, jump, whatever. Keeps it real, or unreal in this case.
I was gonna say,
Good joke.
It's
Good
real
joke.
gameplay. That's what we like.
You know
to,
what?
Like to see.
You win.
People can actually play through that. And again, it's it just blows me away when you see that final sequence at the flight, and that's the kind of thing that I think we've all been waiting for, is to see that glimpse of where games are going next. So it's really exciting to see how you guys keep pushing the pushing the technology to the next level with UE5. And I know it's going to be next year. You say so. We'll see some next gen games this holiday shipping on brand UE 4.25, I think, right? And then next year is when we'll see UE5. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We're planning on having a preview of UE5 available early next year, and then shipping the full 5.0.
But the whole thing
later
is,
in
if
the
they
year.
have 5.0
And I
revealed
imagine,
here,
you know,
developers are already
characters will
working in
also
it.
improve.
Yeah.
I know you
Like,
guys have
major
done a lot of
companies
work
are already
there with
working in
some,
it.
character
Yeah, the big
technology.
players,
We already
yeah.
talked about with Nick, the idea of streaming more into
Which
the
makes me
environment,
think,
no
since
load
Final
times, as
Fantasy
Tim
VII Remake
mentioned,
Part
I mean,
1
these are other
was
things
in
that I guess are
Unreal
gonna,
4,
sort of
Part
impact
2 is
the
in
game
Unreal 5.
experience. But are there
100%.
other dimensions that you think the next generation will sort of evolve to?
Now, here's a
UE5?
question.
I mean, I think the character stuff feels
Oh
like
my God,
really
it's Andy
another area
Serkis.
where it's not the same as movies yet in terms of character technology,
so
but I'm sure you guys
jarring.
are pushing on that too.
I'm very confident. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
This is just the tip of the iceberg
So,
here.
something they didn't address,
you
which
know,
I think
we've
would
shown
actually be a
visual
major
humans
question on a lot of
technology in
people's
the
minds,
past,
because it
but,
plagues
I
this
think that
generation.
The Three-Lateral team that recently
Are
joined
they
us
fixing Unreal's
are going to be
texture
pushing
popping
that to
issues?
entirely new levels, not just in
Ooh,
graphics fidelity,
that's
but
gonna
also
be
in productivity for content creators.
something
so
really
that,
needed, because that's what
you
a
know,
big complaint in Final
a
Fantasy VII
developer
was.
without a huge budget
Talk-
can build
talk about the doors.
visual humans that are world class. We have a lot of investments going on that you'll hear about over the coming months and over the next year. Also, at the core of this, this isn't a big open world demo, but open world technology and enabling worlds without bounds is the key initiative that's uniting all of this. Virtualized geometry is one part of it. Global illumination with Lumen is another part of it. But ultimately, this comes together to empower huge streaming seamless environments, and that creates an entirely new direction for games to go. And remember, this is not just a graphics engine, right? It's a full simulation engine. It aims to power every aspect of simulating a realistic environment, including very detailed physics and vehicles and collision and destruction and everything else. I think
get after it,
qualitatively
future millionaires. Unreal Engine royalties waived on the first $1 million in game revenue.
It's going to be very exciting because we don't know exactly what they're going to be.
Yeah. Cool. Starting today, you can download and use Unreal Engine to build games for free, as you always have, except royalties are now waived on your first $1 million in gross revenue.
Very good.
Do you think in terms of like the game, with
yeah, I think that's similar to what Unity already does. Unity is a smaller threshold, I think, but
well, it puts a vast amount of additional new power in the hands of all of the creators who build Fortnite, both within Epic and the 100 million or so outside of Epic. It's going to be very interesting.
Why are they showing
Fortnite? To see where this enables the game to go.
Because this is the apex of what Unreal 5 is capable of.
Good pun.
Is a very, very small fraction of,
well played,
of what the game
I didn't even. I literally wasn't even.
You should have taken credit for that. You should have taken credit.
I didn't even get it for a second. I'm like, oh wait, Apex.
Well, I see it as it's a game, but it also feels like a platform in a way that it's enabling
battle royale type games.
Battle royale
very short half-life.
Creative, and obviously we've started to see other experiences with music artists. And
they didn't even have the legs of like League of Legends and
Dota,
right, when they were big.
I guess a bunch of other content. Is that how you view it? As sort of this,
But then they hit like peaks that even they didn't.
People have used the term, sort of metaverse, but is that sort of the longer term vision? Is that Fortnite can sort of grow to wherever creators want to take it?
Fortnite to me looks like a PS2 game.
As someone who never played Fortnite except for once, when like shit like this happens in the game, like the Travis Scott concert, for instance, does like gameplay stop? Like, can I not kill anyone anymore while this is going on?
It's its own game mode, and yes, they like disable weaponry. It's instanced, so you don't have like massive player crowds. Like,
I thought the whole cool bit about it was that like you could like be mid play in a game and then like a meteor strikes. And like you never knew when that was going to happen. I thought that was the appeal.
I don't think that's a thing.
Uncap the entire world's creativity.
I don't think. But I'm honestly in the same boat as you, Finn, where I've only played it once.
Yeah, well, I think,
other than that, all the stuff I hear is off of Twitter, off of news articles, and off of my nephews.
What they'll eventually be able to maybe make, and that demo is absolutely stunning. Before we go, I wanted to ask you, like, that demo, how long did it take you guys to build? How many people worked on it? Can you give us a sense of like, how that came to life?
Well, we started thinking about it straight after GDC was when we started thinking about it. We knew Brian's nanite technology was beginning to come online, and but the bulk of the work, I would say, started from sort of September through to March, and I think the team. It probably peaked over this, but I think it was about 24 people that worked on the project overall, and with a bit of help from our friends at Quixel. If it hadn't been for the Quixel Megascan library, we couldn't be able to populate that world.
Yeah, well, I'm sure everyone looks at that and says, I want to play that game, and I know we're not necessarily going to get it, but it hopefully will inspire a lot of creators around the world about what will be possible, with UE5 and also the next generation systems. So, I feel real excited now about what we're going to get to see for the rest of the year for all these next-gen games and, of course, into the future. Thanks, as always, for joining me, guys. It's great to see the first look at UE5 and hear about where Epic's going. And, the future looks quite bright. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks for chat.
There we go.
Yeah, so... Big deal. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But how many of the people watching this gave a shit?
That's where I'm like at a loss. Why Jeff thought like I guess he's doing his own thing, he can do whatever he wants, but like why he hyped it up as much as he did when he knew who his audience was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I imagine most people tuned in for like maybe when they saw the Unreal Engine, they like tuned out there. Maybe when the tech demo ended and the interview started, they tuned out there. But I can't imagine a lot of people were watching that for the whole hour, other than maybe us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I like to see it. I just wish that, like, it's just not tangible at this point in time, right? If you're showing me a game with it, I'm not expecting like a Final Fantasy or like something like that. But if you just showed me something more, I guess I might be able to be more excited about it, but it's really hard to build up an engine that's not even out. And so you won't see the games built in that engine for another 3 years at least.
Yeah.
And unless people have early copy, like early access dev kits or something.
Yeah, for sure. There are. Like Tim said, Final Fantasy VII Part 2 is probably going to be in UE5. And they probably have their hands on it already, if not a few months before this. Yeah.
On other news, Tony Hawk Pro Skater's got a collection edition.
Does it have the skateboard? I thought I saw that earlier today.
It has $99.99, and it comes with a skate deck.
Nice.
Full size.
Yeah. I don't think
I'm guessing it's a birdhouse deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think there's a lot more to say about this. We're going to wrap up the show pretty quickly. If you guys want to say anything more on Unreal Engine 5, I'll let you.
Developers, take what you can and go build your own engines again.
Yeah. A lot of cool stuff here, but we're not qualified to talk about it yet. But yeah.
I honestly it's funny because they talked about a lot of stuff and explained a lot of stuff, and I feel like they created more questions and didn't answer a lot of the questions that I would have already had.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of questions I have for this engine over the course of its debut.
Yeah. This is just to purely get it out there and have that be known and get people to start getting their hands on it. But yeah, there's still a lot in the air right now. But yeah, let me check real quick. When is the state of play tomorrow? Because that will almost definitely be a little bit more exciting.
Is it an all Ghost of Tsushima?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Yeah, it's just Ghost of Tsushima.
They said it's going to be focused on Ghost of Tsushima. They didn't say whether there's going to be more. I'm guessing that there's not going to be, because Last of Us 2 and this is going to be the last things the PS4 has before we start going on the next gen. So
1 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
4 p.m. Eastern time.
So that will be, let's see, 4 p.m. Oh, actually pretty late. It'll be 9 p.m. here, BST.
And I think that'll be 3 p.m. for Keith.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so I'll definitely be up.
Okay. Keith will be here. Tim, will you be here?
I should be able to.
Okay, all three of us will be here. Maybe the Couch Capades will join us. I don't know. We'll ask them later. But yeah, it'll be at that time tomorrow, and we'll see what Ghost of Tsushima has in store. Until then, see you guys tomorrow.